Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading room. I hope you had an enjoyable weekend, nice and relaxing, enjoying the summer, unless, of course, you're in the southern hemisphere where it's winter right now. You're in the middle of winter. But still, winters in the south I don't think are quite like winters in the north. All right. So we just had the markets open up, a relatively soft open. No gaps or anything to deal with here this morning. A little bit quiet too for a Monday, I would think. Oh dear, sorry about that. Did I have my microphone on mute? Oh dear. Let me welcome you again then to the Monday morning trading room. And I was just saying how the markets have a little bit of a soft open here this morning. We'll give them a few minutes here. This, of course, the NASDAQ, the charts that I'm watching here, for those of you new in the trading room here, I see a couple of new names. I'm watching the NASDAQ on this monitor. I've also got crude oil and the E-mini up on my other monitor. The way I've laid out my charts is I've got the Hawk Scalper here in the top left, Falcon Swing Trader top right, Eagle Trend Trader bottom left, and of course the Raptor here on the bottom right. I'm wondering whether this morning's trading will just be a continuation of what we saw on Friday. Friday had a slight upward slant to it. Well, looks like we might be waiting again. That was kind of the theme on Friday. What are they going to do here? They seem to be holding the highs here at the moment here on the NASDAQ. For you Eagle traders who like to take that first in sync Eagle signal, well, there it is right there. That's our first signal of the day. We do have a chance for a second push opportunity on this one as well. The second push, all that means is we allow the signal to engage, retreat from the signal, and then we look for some renewed momentum to bring us in on the trade. What time is it? We're about 5-6 minutes into the session. Don't really have a tradable signal on the Raptor just yet. The Hawk and the Falcon also giving us early signals. The Falcon producing a late filter entry signal. Now this tends to be a very high probability signal, the late filter entry, and the way it works is like this. Your filter goes out of sync and comes back into sync, but your trend line never changes color. And then you produce a signal. That tends to be a quality signal. And here too we have an opportunity for a second push entry, which would be very similar to the Eagle trade that we're looking at. So I'm not going to duplicate that here. Just kind of thrashing about here a little bit as they try to figure out who's stronger. I think it's important to remember too that there's really nothing wrong with waiting. A lot of traders tend to get pretty anxious. Or bored. Or both. All right, so the selling is starting to get a little bit stronger. We are producing a soft edge sell here on the Raptor. This is our counter trend signal. So I'll take a look at doing it, but I've restricted my entry to just a single contract. I don't want to go too heavy into this because it is a counter trend trade. Okay, so far so good. Oh, spoke too soon. Getting a little bit of a bullish reaction off of that hard edge. Whenever the market hits the hard edge, we should anticipate some sort of reaction. to cancel my Eagle trade here for the time being. The Falcon's starting to look a little bit more bearish as well. I think we're going to see a little bit of a push to the downside here, or at least that's how things are shaping up at the moment. Come on. So the problem is near the primary support zone here at around 59.15 half, 59.16. That's our current obstacle. If we can get below there, come on, there we go. Just gave it a kiss. Come on, let's get below there. If we get below that, we should have no trouble finding our profit objective. In fact, you may even choose to shoot for the next support line down here, which is at 59.08. Which would bring us back near the overnight lows. Come on. Pretty important bar we're watching right here. Come on, here we go. One more retest of the high, maybe? So you can see the problem here. We're getting some conflicting signals. We've now produced a hard edge bounce. We've got the counter trend signal. Should have actually held out for that hard edge bounce, but I thought we would see prices drift at least here to the a little bit past the hard edge. What an indecisive bar right here. The whole session so far. Very indecisive. Shoot, come on. Yeah, the Hawk's still very neutral here as well. And you can see our filter here on the Falcon breaking up quite a bit. Yeah, the market couldn't be much more neutral. Well, nothing to talk about, nothing to look at. Everything's kind of sideways here. The E-mini actually fell off a little bit harder than we're looking here in the NASDAQ, which I thought we might get a little bit more follow through from, but didn't happen. Yeah, like Mark says, the filters here on the other tools, the Hawk and the Falcon, looking like a candy cane. And you're right, very indecisive. Yep. I almost thought that we would be able to ride out that swing, but no, didn't happen. So I guess we'll just wait a little bit longer here and see which way the market tries to go. And of course, it may turn out that my stop was just a tick or two too tight, as when the market is ranging like this, it will have a tendency to try to run the highs and the lows by a couple of ticks. Well, that was one reason I took just a single contract instead of trying to go in heavy. Because it was counter trend, we do have a market that's kind of wandering. Well, good morning, Jake. Glad you could make it. Things a little on the dull side here this morning. Not a whole lot going on right now. Getting a little bit of a bullish push. There we go. Peter's asking to look at the Canadian dollar. All right, here's the Canadian dollar. I've got it on the faster settings, so if it looks different than your chart, if you have the default settings, I put this on the faster chart, the alternate settings. Peter says it's certainly looking bullish, and it is very bullish right now. If you look at a longer term chart, like a daily chart of the Canadian dollar, you'll see the Canadian dollar in a pretty good rally mode. So here in the overnight, we had a nice little hard edge bounce. A little bit of follow through from that so far. Friday session, also bullish. You know, it's not a bad idea. I've mentioned this before, but since nothing's going on, this is going to be a good opportunity to review this. Pardon me. Let me build a chart here for you. So it never hurts to have a longer term perspective. So that when you look at a longer term chart, here's a daily of the NASDAQ. if you look at a chart like this, which way would you say the market is going? Well, it seems like the market is going up, doesn't it? Forget about potential reversals, forget about all these gaps here that should fill and will fill. The market is going up. So what does that tell you? Well, that tells you that the overall bias for the market right now is up. And until that changes, you're going to have your best opportunities on the buy side. If we look here at the Canadian dollar that Peter just mentioned, what's the direction of the Canadian dollar? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. It's going up. We've got some pretty big bars through here, all on the rally side, on the bull side. So when in doubt, you should look to buy. Yes, there will be some point here where the Canadian dollar turns. It is extremely unlikely that you will be buying the high of the move only to watch the market turn on you. It's not impossible. I've done it, but it's extremely unlikely. So, it's just a little something to keep in mind. It's not a bad habit to, in the back of your mind, have the overall market direction. See, even here where the market made a big turn lower, you could have, after this day, you could have been a little bit more bearish on the market, and you'll see that each day, see these long tails here, each day had a good bear move to it, even though some of them were quite strong on the recovery. And even through this pullback, maybe with the exception of this day and this day right here, we had pretty decent bearish moves until finally the downtrend resumed again for a few days. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you use the longer term chart as your overall bias, you probably would have found yourself on the right side of the market more often than not. That certainly would have been the case here this morning as well. Yeah, Peter says, I didn't realize I had to adjust the settings for the Canadian dollar. It's very easy to tell when you need to adjust your settings. If you open up your chart, and I'm demonstrating this here on the Raptor, but it's going to be true for every market that you're looking at. If you open up your chart and all of a sudden you have your daybreak lines like this, that tells you that your settings are too large. You're not getting enough data. Obviously, you won't be able to day trade like this. If you want to use this information, if you want to use the signals to position trade, that's fine. That will work. But excuse me a second. Pardon me, I'm a little bit congested here this morning. But if you look at your chart like this, and you have all these daybreak lines, obviously you're not going to generate enough signals through the day to be able to trade this. So what you need to do is you need to adjust your chart and go to the alternate settings. That's the 4, 4, 6 settings. That means you're going to have, see, like the E-mini is a perfect example. I have to use the alternate settings on the E-mini because, and you can see even there, we're not getting a lot of signals on the E-mini, are we? This is partly the nature of the market of late, but even so. you're not if I didn't have the alternate settings, we would get even fewer signals. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to change your data series, your brick size to 4 ticks. And then you're going to go to your indicator window, find your Raptor 2.0, and we're going to change our Hawk brick size to 4 ticks. And then we're going to change our clouds to 4 and 6. So 4, 4, and 6. And the idea is, like I said, just to get some flow. If you're looking at a chart and you're not generating any signals, you probably need to go to the alternate settings. And typically for a market like the E-mini, which trades at 12.50 a tick, you're going to need the alternate settings. The 30-year bond is another market that trades at $31 a tick. You may need to refine the settings even more. You may need to go to a 244 setting. And again, that's just so that you get something to trade. Yeah, Francisco says crude oil standing still. It certainly is. It's very content at, where is it now, 46.29, 46.30 a barrel. They're very happy with that price right now. As is the NASDAQ, trading in the 59.25 neighborhood. I'm sure a lot of traders, myself included, thought we would see 6,000 before the NASDAQ tried to turn over, but maybe not. I shouldn't have put away the daily chart just yet. 1 second, I'll show you something. So here's the NASDAQ, of course. We've had a pretty significant trend line break here. This market was in a tight trading channel type formation, just trending along really nicely, and all of a sudden it broke out. And a pretty significant breakout too. Well, what does that tell us? Well, that tells us there was some pretty serious selling pressure as the market got here toward the 59, 24, 25 area. Same neighborhood we see ourselves in now. So now we've got the market, in this strong rally, very strong rally. But this strong rally is also beginning to resemble a test of the extreme, isn't it? We've already broken support. We've broken trendline resistance. We've broken support. We're testing the extreme. A lot of traders are looking for a clue that these highs will hold. And if those highs hold, the market has a long ways to go. 5,600, 5,550, very realistic targets. Very realistic targets. Perhaps even this gap down here around 5,500, 5,450 could be filled. But I think a lot of traders, myself included, are thinking a pullback to 5,600 is definitely within the realm of possibility here. The market may enter a rather large trading range and may stay within that trading range for some time. But that's kind of how things are shaping up right now. And that's why, because of this trend line break that we saw. That probably explains some of the lack of market participation as well, because traders, you know, if you're trading Goldman Sachs or Bank of America or Fidelity or one of these huge accounts, you might not be so keen on loading up until you really know which way the market's ready to go. Oh, this little 4-arrow consolidation came on rather quickly. I was kind of holding out for that one. Well, we do have a chance at a second push on this one. Oop, come back here. So the 4-arrow consolidation in the hawk, this is also a first micro macro cross. Actually, the first micro macro cross looks like it would have hit its profit objective. But the 4-arrow consolidation pattern, we tend to see some follow through from these types of signals. And again, it's kind of in sync with the overall market trend. All right, if those highs continue to hold, we will get yet another counter trend signal here on the Raptor. This one might be a little bit more doable. Even though we have already attempted a short, an unsuccessful short. The hard edge bounce has hit its profit objective, so we'll see. A number 2 signal does tend to be more probable after a number 3 signal, by the way. It just seems to work that way. Come on. Okay. Oh, there it is. There's the number 2 signal. And I'm still restricting it to just a single contract. I don't want to go too crazy here and load up to the short side. getting a similar signal on the E-mini. Also a crossover sell. And here too, I would probably restrict it to manual mode. So there you go. There's a couple of opportunities as it looks like the sellers may try to take their turn here. What time is it? Oh, about 20 after. They're stuck. They're thinking about it. No commitment just yet, not from any of the tools. I guess the Eagle's still here. The most, well, reliable. Would that be the right word? We would be taking some heat on our long position if we had took that first in sync signal. But at least it's kind of pointing the right direction. Oh, very, very balanced market still. Aha. So Ryan kind of confirming what we've been looking at here. Ryan says, Eric, I loaded a NASDAQ daily chart with Elliott wave plotting and major pivot points. It shows the wave 5 on the close of Thursday last week. Well, the fifth wave, for those of you unfamiliar with Elliott waves, is supposed to be the last leg of the move. After that, we normally see a correction. So it's nice to know that the Elliott wave guys are seeing the same stuff that we're seeing. Sometimes when there's confluence in different strategies like that, you actually see some bigger follow through. All right, so these highs continuing to hold, which is good if we're intending to take advantage of this number 2 signal that we have right here. The soft edge sell. Target is the hard edge of the trading band, or in this case, around the low of the morning. We're still printing buy dots. Look at this. Look at all these buy dots through here. It's just wild. All right, here we go. We got a little bit more downside momentum. Are they going to follow through this time? Transitory periods are always difficult to trade as well. When the market might be moving from a bullish state to a bearish state, there's going to be a lot of two-sided trading. So you can see we came back with yet another number 2 signal. That's the soft edge sell. Such reluctance to head lower. So we saw the market here attempt to trade below the signal bar low. Big push now. Come on. Where's Ray Burke when I need him? Get in here and do his push. Oh, he used to crack me up with that. I bet if I put a bigger trend line across here, we would be trading near a trend line. It just feels that way from the pace of the market. So if I shot a trend line, oh no, actually we're not that close. I thought we might be closer. Okay, also getting a first micro macro cross now in the hawk. I'm not going to double up on the position, but for you hawk traders, there's a high probability signal for you. Ay, 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 ay. You guys and girls, it's not just the guys beating up on my short position. Certainly is, Jake. Jake says the market really range bound today. The bears are trying. They certainly are. They gave it a good little push here. Now the buyer's trying to fight it back. We'll see whether the sellers can actually overcome them this time. Okay, here they go. Come on, sellers. On this next push lower, assuming I get another push lower, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive, start to bring my stops in a little bit. Come on. This is just crazy today. Oh dear. Looks like they're going to try to make a run at the high again. We're trading in slow motion here. Peter writes here, to quote the DTS sensei, sideways as a trend. I do write down your phrases of wisdom. Yeah, they're suitable for needlepoint and embroidery. You can burn them into a wood sign. Well, are we going to get anything going on here this morning? My goodness, this is really slow. Well, we'll put this back on the shelf. I don't think we're missing anything. No, the hawk's still very broken up, as is the falcon. And the eagle's still showing us a little bit of a bullish trend, but just barely. We'll hang with it here for a couple more minutes. We may actually see the market get down here to our profit objective, but otherwise we're going to close up the room. And what I'm going to try to do is just nurse this trade a little bit longer, try to get it down there. But I admit it is, it's tough trading today. It is really tough slogging. it helps when you're trading markets like this as well to try to be a little extra patient. Wow, it's not like we're asking a lot here. Just to see like a 20 tick move. Well, boys and girls, I think we might call it a day. Not getting a whole lot of follow through here. Yeah, John says all the British pound US dollar action occurred while I was asleep this morning. Yeah, that's the problem with trading the European based currencies, is all that kind of stuff tends to happen during the night, or during the night for us in North America. Of course, it's daytime in Europe. Well, we're going to button up shop here. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a little bit more action to it, but right now it's just going to be a little bit of a slow day, like I said, trying to get this trade to at least a break-even position, maybe even profit. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow then. Bye for now.